Hello YouTube, Mr. Miz here, and this will be, hopefully, the first of a series of videos that I'd like to do, uh, just reviewing and discussing scale models that I've built. And I'd like to start the series with the latest model that I've bought, and this is one that I have wanted for a long, long time. And that is the Nautilus, as portrayed in Disney's 1954 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Uh, I absolutely loved this movie from the time I was a kid, probably 4 or 5 years old. I wanted a model of this ship probably for about that long, so about almost 40 years that I've wanted this model, and I finally got it. This is actually my first attempt at a 3D printed model as well. Um, Never tried it before, and I gotta say I'm fairly happy with how it turned out. I ordered this from a seller on Etsy named Hokanum, not sure how you pronounce it, River Supply. Um, so let's just go through it, shall we? It came in this box. Kind of hard to believe that it all fit, but it did. I was fairly impressed. The primary parts were solid tail fin, a aft hull, central hull, and the forward hull. And each one of those was individually bubble wrapped and taped up. The propeller, the spear at the front, and the lights and windows around the wheelhouse and the salon all came in small baggies. Everything was very well packaged. The base, I didn't notice this when I ordered it, but I wanted to show you real quick. This is pretty cool. Actually, the base is tentacles to hold the ship up. And I painted it black. I'm kind of having second thoughts about that. I may go back and redo it like maybe wood or gunmetal or maybe even copper, like the ship itself. But I'll leave the tentacles gold, I think, just so it kind of contrasts a little bit with the ship itself. Um, I, as it was my first time attempting a 3D printed model, I contacted the seller and asked him a couple of questions. One of them was, does regular glue work on this? Do I need, uh, something else? He recommended a specific brand of cyanosilate, however you say it, basically super glue. Um, it's only sold on Amazon, but stopped at the local Hobby Express and picked up this Instant Cure Plus. I asked, they said it works really well on 3D printed models, and I gotta say, I agree. Um, and when they say instant cure, they mean instant cure. This stuff cured very fast and is very strong from what I can tell. Um, the tail just, glued on. The other parts of the other hull pieces had little slots in them that took four small pegs that came with the rest of the kit to line it up and everything. Uh, when I test fitted it, needed to do a little bit of filing and sanding to get the pins to fit right. And then I just, simply alternated them. They were down here on the center line of the model, and I just put, one on one side, one in the other, on each side of the piece, glued them together, and it's pretty much like a rock. Also, the thickness of this is probably about half again to twice the thickness of your normal kit model. So it's very solid. For the paint, I'm what some people might charitably call frugal. Uh, a lot of times I will use the cheap craft paint. that you can get like at Walmart or Hobby Express. It's like $1.50 to $2 for a bottle of that stuff. They did not have copper, however. So while I was getting my glue, I also picked up Vallejo Metal Keller Copper. Uh, After priming the model, I just did the whole thing in my airbrush. I got to say, this stuff works really nice. There's probably a reason why people use this stuff rather than mixing their own paint. Um, Once I got done with that, my next step was just straight black to paint these scuppers here. I also did a black wash and did the deck on the platform here. After that, I made a more of a reddish rust wash, and I just painted the entire model with it. Um, and then when I got done with that, once that dried, I made a darker wash of more of like a brownish rust color, and I went over all of the rivet lines. For the windows, what I usually do, the recesses that they go into, I painted all of that with reflective silver. And then I did all these lights here. So you got the lights around the windows of the salon, and then these two sort of headlights over the wheelhouse in just regular reflective silver. And then for the actual windows, which again, you got the two on the front of the wheelhouse, there's one in the back of the wheelhouse, and then the window for the salon, which is port and starboard. I went ahead and did those in, actually just mixed like a green and reflective silver. And it got this nice kind of, I don't know, teal. I'd have to ask my wife if that's the color, but got that nice color to it. As far as accuracy goes, let's take a look at this. I'm very happy with it. There are a couple small things that I'd point out, and I almost feel like a jerk doing it because it's not a big deal. Unless you're really an avid fan of the movie, you're not going to notice it. But just for the sake of accuracy, first off, the deck, that pattern of just sort of slots and grids is not entirely accurate to the prototype from the movie. Having said that, I've seen models that are 2 and 3 feet long that used photo etch brass for that. I don't know if that's maybe an issue with the resolution of the printer. Maybe it's a limit on the software that was used to design the model, but nothing that I would ever really complain about. The rivets are somewhat overscale, and they're not 100% accurate to the prototype. Again, you know, if you want to be like a true foamer rivet counter, maybe that's an issue. It is not to me. Oh, while I'm looking at it, I also painted the anchor. There's one on each side. Painted those just regular black, and then I filled in the ballast uh, grid with a wash as well. Um, the only other real issue is that in this hole in the lower keel, in the prototype, there's a little sort of screw looking thingy that is in there and spins around. Um, I might make one at some point. Maybe next time I'm working on a model and have a piece of sprue handy. Maybe just kind of grab one, heat it, and twist it, paint it up, and just put it in there. But I mean, realistically, I can't in any way complain about this model. Um, I'm very happy with it. So let's talk about the cost and the value. Now, this model was $60 uh, plus shipping for a 12-inch model. That is not cheap for a model of this size. Having said that, I've been looking for a kit of this model of the Nautilus for the better part of 40 years. And in all that time, I haven't found one. It's not to say that one was never made or that it doesn't exist, but I haven't found one. So to me, it was very well worth the money to have something like this that I have wanted for so long. And that, I think, uh, is a good thing to consider. Uh, the seller designed the model, uh, however, whatever software he used to do it. He prints it himself. You got to pay for, the plastic and everything. So like I said, I really felt like this was very well worth the money to me. Um, he does offer it in other sizes. This is the smallest at 12 inch. He offers 18, 24 inches as well, and I think he might even go up to 3 feet with this. So that is something just in general with 3D printing that's very cool. Um, there's certain ships that I might want to do someday that just really aren't economic for a company like AMT Ertl or Polar Lights or a regular model company to actually do a full mold of. Uh, the Oceanic of 1899, I think was when that ship came out, or some of Ballin's uh, trio of ships from the early 1900s around the time of the Titanic. Uh, there's not really enough demand out there that a major company is going to invest in making a mold to do it. But I've seen it available 3D printed, and you know, model railroaders. I've seen a lot of them use it to make anything from figures to gas meters that they could print up and put on the side of their buildings, things like that. It's easily scaled, from what I've read. Again, I'm no expert, but overall, I have to say I think this is a great value. I'm very happy with how the model turned out. Um, one word of caution: if you do get a 3D printed model, I was in a bit of a rush and I didn't do enough research. On some of the parts, there was little bits of, I don't know, fuzz, wispiness, just very, very, very thin filaments of of plastic that had come off the printer head. There's a little bit of that. Maybe you can see it down in there. I didn't really notice it until the copper paint went on. That's when it sort of popped. Um, should have done a little more research. I did sort of very lightly go over this thing with a lighter just to clear some of it out, and then very, very lightly sanded it. I didn't want to lose any of the detail. But overall, uh, you know, I'm extremely happy. I would definitely recommend, if you like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and you've wanted a Nautilus for yourself like I have for so long, I would definitely look into Hoken River Supply. And just kind of a little bit, some different views head on. And I'll put some pictures of the build process and some other shots of the model at the end here. But like I said, I do. This is not 100% complete yet. I do need to clear coat it, and I'll do a gloss coat first just to get it nice and sealed and smooth. That might give it a wet look. Maybe I'll leave it there, and if I don't like the way it looks, I'll just hit it with a dull coat after that. But yeah, that's my 12-inch Nautilus. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give me a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a great day.